Y'all got us all the way up. We met that dude Duke the Jeweler the night before. We was down. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to kill him.
He's the one that's tied to the dude that makes the loaded dice. Right? Check the play out. All entertainers, when you go to Houston, stay away from Jay Prince Jr. The whole play going on. Here go the play right here. Play is a loaded dice.
A velvet table, blood red dice, and fake smiles all around. However, the laughter had a menacing undertone. Duke the Jeweler did not simply take a risk. He was surrounded by it. He was no dubious businessman. He was a Chicago icon, self-made, admired, and awash in success. But that didn't matter. There were plenty of sharks in that room, and someone had already made up their mind. People say it wasn't a random hit. No escape vehicle, no ski mask, no back alley. Everyone was smiling as Duke left Boosie's dice game, the kind that hides cunning aim. At one point, they were dapping him up. Then they were communicating in a non-deceptive way. The federal government is currently keeping a careful eye on these signs. Who is generating difficulties? Do you know? 50 Cent posted enigmatic correspondence, invoices, and direct clues that this might have been a far bigger conspiracy than anyone had thought. But here's where it gets interesting. At a Mob TI's game that Jay himself hosted, Duke was the center of attention. 2 weeks before Takeoff's disaster in another dice game, Prince JRB. And when the incorrect guy starts winning, the whole room suddenly transforms. Smiles fade, eyes shift. The entire circle, including Boosie, J Prince JRB, and Little Cam, is under investigation. What began as rumors on the street is now being investigated thoroughly. So was it just plain bad luck? Or was the table already arranged before Duke had sat down? Duke wasn't only handing out diamond necklaces to up-and-coming rappers to curry favor. He was making unique sculptures for prominent members of the industry. He had a brand, a reputation, and $1 million duffel bag full of chili heat. His landing in Houston was not for sightseeing. He was reportedly personally called by Bowie to talk about business, something special, or something exclusive. After that, Duke drew up all in, but he had no idea that this outing may be his final lap of the game. Let's take a closer look at what actually happened at the table of dice. Based on audio that was made public and linked to WAC 100, yes, direct street-level intelligence, it wasn't your normal dice game. It was purportedly decked out to resemble a party. Insiders now talk about Jay's predicament. Prince JRB as a ring of loaded dice. The same names are mentioned often. Little Cam, Big Capri, and Wolf, as though it were a secret ritual. The dice are rotated by a close-knit group. You always have the odds against you unless someone makes a mistake. And that's exactly what took place. Wack claims the switch was caught by Duke. He rolled past the decoys and started to accumulate large amounts of cash. First hundreds, then thousands, and so on. But when you beat a system that wasn't designed to be conquered by outsiders, its designers get nervous. What comes next? The mood shifts. Let's talk about how luxury turned to chaos this evening.
I stayed so even when I got my train stuck. Go through hard time, and you know that was badass. Can't blame us, we not speaking, that was badass. Yeah, never had fun, though, the niggas laid up. I don't care, I get the pressure, we know we have more. I can't get that long, and I love laying up.
According to insiders, JRB keeps 30% of the total pot on dice nights. So when Duke started cleaning up and piling victories, it wasn't just a lucky streak. Someone was tampering with someone's wallet. And Duke's loud, confident, iced out, and unrepentant actions that night. He was pouring in diamonds, flinging money as if it were nothing, and documenting every second for the grams. But all of a sudden things start getting weird. If you slow down the video from that night, a specific scene stands out. Boosie blows the whistle quietly. Not much, just enough to get attention. Immediately, his nephew turns and faces Duke. A man in a red sweater then casually taps the nephew's arm as though conveying a silent message. After that, the entire space feels changed. Duke is still full of energy. He's joking, laughing, and tossing dice. The air appears to have thickened though. The grins had shifted. The space grew cold. A few minutes later, the night takes a dark, irreparable turn. This was not just a gut feeling. Body language was used to communicate everything. When you walk into a room full of people who have already made up their minds behind closed doors, your bones will tell you. This is the real question. With no apparent security and unpredictable energy, why would wealthy Boosie allow someone wearing jewels worth over $1 million to a dice game? And why didn't Jay, who was obviously out of town and carrying that much weight? Did Prince JRB make any arrangements for protection? The sum does not add up. Let's go back to when Duke stepped out of the dice game. After spending hours in a room full of diamonds and millions of dollars, Duke was heading alone across a dim Houston parking lot without any security crew or driver. If something seems strange to you, it is. However, things go from questionable to outright unnerving at this point. Chaos erupts a few minutes later. Duke is being ambushed. The plot, however, is drastically altered by what happens next. When someone is being targeted, most of the time in such a scenario, money and jewelry disappear first. But not this time. When Duke was found, every piece was still on him. There was no touch, nor the gems, nor the designer. So what kind of theft results in 7 jewelry figurines being left behind? The identical outfits that Duke had flashed during Boosie's performance just hours before were still on him.
Walking to his car, some dude tried to rob him. Some dude tried to rob him. Some dudes that tried to rob me and walked off by himself, bro. I had just met dude yesterday. Bitch tried to rob dude. Dude must ain't get up. Just met dude.
The Louis Vuitton duffel bag that held his unpublished, unique jewelry ideas, however, was the real eye-opener. After disappearing from view, it miraculously reappeared inside Boosie's home. The Houston Police Department has attested to it, yes. The fact that the bag returned is indisputable, regardless of whether Duke handed it to Boosie for protection during the dice game or if it came in some other way. Duke didn't. Furthermore, Boosie said in a shaky Instagram live from a private jet that he hardly even knew Duke stated that Duke simply left. But nobody is pleased about that. Wait a minute. Even though Boosie claims he didn't know Duke very well, didn't he hint that Duke would create a unique piece for him? You invite a man to a private dice game, see him flash over 1 million pieces of jewelry, and then let him go to his car by himself in the dark? There's no logic to that story. Furthermore, it becomes even more sloppy. Boosie's entire Instagram live mood. He was pallid, anxious, uncomfortable, insecure, and clearly ill-prepared for the questions being asked of him. Furthermore, the drama didn't reach its climax as you would have thought. The feds were already keeping an eye on Bowie for unrelated legal issues. They started a separate federal inquiry into Duke's case after taking it out of the backlog. This suggests that there won't be any more delays, charge avoidance, just a laser-like focus on the particulars of that night's happenings. So what did they do? What do they always do? Observe the phone's final signal. Duke's phone delivered its last ping sound in Boosie's recording studio. And unless Duke's phone had legs and went there by itself, someone boldly brought it from that circle. No efforts to take it off. No damage. It just went dark after that. Turned off by hand. That's when the feds locked in. Next, look through Duke's rental automobile. When forensics recovered fingerprints, guess who showed up? Boosie's nephew. Boosie's family. Similar names. The same circle. One of the witnesses then showed up. A smoker is outside the structure, reported to have seen Duke walking alone toward his automobile. Before Boo's nephew walked up from the side, obviously waiting in the cut. Everything appeared serene and usual. The witness claimed that Duke seemed uncomfortable and tried to defend himself. Tried to swing first and push back.
He was in a garage. He must have walked outside to the parking lot. He was in a garage. We heard the but it's like they was far away in the parking lot. Must have went to his car or something. Dude was finna make a piece of it too. Damn.
But the events that followed did not seem to be robberies. The $1 million jewelry remained intact, the Louis Vuitton bag was maintained, and there was no urgency to seize chains or race for luggage. Money had no bearing on it. Here, control was the problem. And what they did next, as though they didn't even care who was watching. That is not just irresponsible. That's courageous. Who, in your opinion, caught everything? 50 Cent. He has been publicizing receipts, subliminal messages, and connecting dots. Because Houston typically exhibits the same level of caution when tourists arrive. Don't forget to check in. It's not written down or in contracts. However, trust is sincere. Professional athletes, artists, and influencers are all aware of the unspoken rule. You're supposed to check in with Jay. If you're passing through Houston, you should listen to Prince JRB and the Mob Tie Circle. You're taking an unwelcome risk if you don't check in. But this is where things start to get a little weird. What happens if you find yourself in need of protection from the same individuals you're checking in with? That's what we'll call it. Jay was the host of that dice game. Prince JRB. Duke entered the same space with the same warmth and enthusiasm. Not two. Mention that just 2 weeks later, Prince JRB, hosted the game where Takeoff's tragedy took place. The entire check-in culture then started to smell more like a setup than a safety measure. Why didn't two prominent people depart from Jay? What if Prince JRB actually did manage the city as he says he did? WAC 100 had to be heard. He didn't hold back either. Refer to it as a total scam arrangement. These entertainers are lured in, made to feel at ease, and then surrounded during private dice games when the atmosphere shifts rapidly. Now, the industry is beginning to pay attention. Shows in Houston are being quietly canceled by labels. Visits from some artists are being canceled entirely. It's starting to feel poisonous and radioactive. Meanwhile, 50 Cent is out there making enigmatic statements, reposting videos, and refusing to remain silent. Captions that do not expose but also do not hide identities. Some people think he's gone too far. According to some, he is the only one who has the guts to say what everyone else is whispering. Because now it's not only about dice games anymore. It has to do with the people who are really making choices behind closed doors.
WAC 100 couldn't stay silent.
The entertainer invites him in. Act like you cover for him, hanging out, everything's cool. Let's go here, let's go there, let's go here, let's go there. He introduces the dice game. He got 3 mothers, right, who rotate the dice. Now, these dice is loaded. Tell me it's a Wolf, Big Caprice, and watch this, and Little Cam are the loaded dice rotators. Right? He said, why? There was a situation that occurred that a certain jeweler crowned and got past the dice on accident and was hitting on them for a couple hundred. They got irritated about that. I ain't gonna go too far into that story because, right? Boom. The only way they could get their money back was however money back. He said, but Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice are the 3 designated to say I'm up, I got the next, and they pass the dice to each other, but they load it, but they shoot.
Sources claim that Bowie is in a downward spiral. The feds aren't the only ones circling. They're drawing nearer. They are now concentrating on that one night, the one where everything went wrong after Boosie's prior gun charges were dropped from Duke's case. They have already started to get in depth. They are following his son's residences, fortune, and digital footprint. The most absurd part, though, is that the sound might be coming from his own circle. According to rumors, Boosie's girlfriend told someone that he ran back inside that night, appearing disturbed and obviously trying to hide something. But he still acts as if he doesn't know anything. He says the same words over and over again, like a screenplay. Nobody is purchasing it. Now the question is loud. If Boosie goes down, who is he taking with him? Boosie is not an isolated individual. His nephew's name is stated, and his cousin. Furthermore, he is currently seeing Prince JRB, who is already well known due to the takeoff incident. As the web starts to fall apart, every strand is pointing back to that dice table. Just when you think it can't be any more twisted, it gets even more twisted. Finesse twice. The musician that Mob T.I.'s formerly proudly backed is no longer their current supporter. He'd shout out Jay in every conversation. Prince JRB. He rarely calls the man by name these days. That's not silence. That's the distance. Can you guess the claimed starting point of it all? A woman. But not just any woman. The baby mother of Fiennes. The rumors. She lined him up, called the police, and had him put back on probation with her mother. Violation. After that, Finesse broke with the mob. No more shows are scheduled. Backstage hanging is over. Just silence and gloom. And you know who pulled strings to swiftly step in and liberate Finesse? Prince Sr. himself. Quiet. Calls were made behind the scenes. After 2 weeks, Finesse was able to walk freely once more. But instead of lying, either out of respect for the men who allegedly got him locked up in the first place or out of low self-esteem, Finesse went back to the same woman right away. At that moment, Senior lost it and took to Twitter to complain. I told the homie to stay the fuck away from that woman if he cares about his life. But he didn't want to listen even after I stepped in to get him out, he boasted, showcasing his large chest. You have no reason to think that these women are always out there trying to do good.
Jeweler. I gotta do my research, see what jeweler might have been down there shooting nice. But nevertheless, to all the entertainers, you know, Dukes of Hazzard was one of my favorite shows. Like, I don't know if y'all watched it. I was thinking about Daisy Duke for a reason. I don't know why I said that. You know, one might go with it, may not go with it, but I don't know. The math is math and let it math. But entertainers, beware. Oh, with Jay Prince Jr., when he talked about let's go shoot some dice. Because the loaded dice crew at 3 Cam Wolf, Big Caprice. You know, little Cam in there because I believe somehow, some way, caught up in the dice situation. Rest in peace, Takeoff. I don't know what's going on. But what I do know is this. Jay Prince Jr. got a whole thing that when y'all come into town, hold on, bro. Didn't they say Fifth Ward earlier that day shooting dice?
Yep, that's a fact. That word been out, Wack. That word been out. We been had that memo.
And then, so they've been getting hit all day and doing that game. They were like, Daddy, it's a dice. That's what this nigga Jay Prince Jr., boy, these niggas got all kind of shit going on down there. They say, he said the jeweler nigga got past the dice. He didn't even know the motherfuckers was loaded. He just think he hit. These niggas is mad as a motherfucker. They like, nigga, how you pass this nigga the loaded dice? Hold up.
Immediately following that post, as many were beginning to recover, things got even more chaotic. The streets started to hum with a frantic whisper. Some have speculated that it's possible that Prince JRB cheated on Finesse' girl and perhaps got her pregnant. Is it confirmed? The number. But the fact that people think it and that Finesse hasn't denied it in a word tells volumes. Some fans are starting to take note, while others have written it off as gossip. A pattern. Takeoff's family and Prince JRB are reportedly at odds. Silent tension with Boosie. For the second time, Finesse is clearly putting himself at a remove and going through it in public. One by one, it appears that every bridge that surrounds Mob TIs is slowly burning down. The scary part follows. When the core values of your brand are loyalty, control, and quiet, one person is capable of cracking the code. The empire is no longer untouchable after one witness, one artist, and one irate friend. It's shattering. Who will break first today is the real question. For his own safety, will Boosie finally come clean? Will Finesse divulge the secret he has been holding for the past 2 years? Instead, would 50 Cent keep applying pressure until Prince JRB does the unthinkable and transgresses the rules of remaining silent to preserve his image? Because the decline has unquestionably already begun. The murmurs are also turning into knocks on locked doors. Federal officials are now monitoring everything. Boosie's whole estate holdings, including his Baton Rouge home and farm in Georgia, are being examined. We're tracking every dollar and transaction. This isn't no longer just a question. It's keeping an eye on things. Don't misinterpret either. It goes beyond simply being intoxicated. The name of Prince JRB is involved as well. The music game reacts rapidly. Artists are turning away. Labels are discreetly pulling deals. The culture around Mob TIs is evolving. This isn't normal rap drama. Now it feels like everything is falling apart. Then comes the wildest part. Reports state that Duke may be able to learn the truth about what really happened that night thanks to surveillance footage, phone cameras, and other evidence. That's it if even one person publishes the video to the public or sells it to TMZ or the federal government. Checkmate. Moreover, no one is taking